Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Amber with Gateway Travel, leader in travel agent services. That is right, one of our absolute favorite things to do here at Gateway Travel is serve our travel agents to help make them the most successful they can be, ensuring that they have everything they need to take excellent care of their clients as they travel. I'm so happy you're joining us today. We obviously love all things travel, and today we're going to be taking a dive into some great tips for some stress-free travel packing. I don't know about you guys, but I have personally really evolved in my packing style. When I was younger, I used to pack my bag if I knew a trip was coming up 3 weeks in advance because I was so excited. The bad thing about this is that there was a lot of times in these scenarios where I was still needing things that I was putting aside from my suitcase. So I was pulling them out, using them, and then trying to remember to put them back in my suitcase to pack. But like I said, there were pros and cons. On the other hand, it really did help me remember things that I might have otherwise forgotten, because I had weeks to run across that item, use it, and decide that I would also like to bring that on my trip. So as those situations would arise, I would just kind of put it in a pile in my room or put it into like an open suitcase on my bedroom floor. And I had this ever-growing pile of stuff that I wanted to bring on my trip. So again, back to the bad thing, is I always felt like I brought more than I actually needed. And I really had trouble refining the items once I had already put them in that space to be packed. So how have I evolved? Well, now I don't even attempt to pack my bag till the day of or the day before my trip. It really is dictated by when my flight leaves. So here's my question to you. As you watch this video, take a moment to think about it and let me know in the comments down below, are you someone that packs like weeks before, or are you someone that packs like the day of, or you're a last minute packer like I have now become? Let me know, because I've lived in both worlds and I do think that there's pros and cons to both, but I would love to know what you guys personally prefer when it comes to packing. So packing in general can be really overwhelming, and that's why I wanted to do this video, to hopefully give you some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way to make it a little bit more enjoyable, less stressful, save you space, and just keep you organized in general. Let's jump in. All right, first up is using packing cubes. That's right, I have those right here sitting next to me because I do talk about packing cubes a lot. If you've watched some of my other recommendation videos, you're probably gonna remember these, but I just absolutely love packing cubes. I really find that they serve multiple purposes, from keeping things organized, which I have found clothing can really make your trip chaotic super fast. So for me, that's where these cubes really come into play. They are also huge space savers. Packing cubes in general are probably one of the smaller, like, best investment items that I've made when it comes to travel. They allow me to separate my clothing into categories like tops, bottoms, dresses, undergarments. So basically I know where everything is just by the shape or style or color of the cube within my suitcase. That means no more digging through my suitcase to find that missing item. Plus, it really makes unpacking a breeze because you can literally just pull the cube out of your suitcase and throw it into the hotel drawer or wherever you're staying. I also love to use different colors for each family member, which is super handy when traveling with kids. It basically keeps everyone's belongings organized. It saves me a ton of time during the trip, which is what I'm all about. All right, number 2, roll your clothes to save space. No, not everybody is a believer in this, but I really think it helps. So yes, rolling your clothes is my tried and true method for saving space in my suitcase. Not only does it help me to fit more items, but it also minimizes wrinkles, especially for softer fabrics. Now you may be asking me, Amber, do you seriously roll jeans? Okay, for bulkier items like jeans, I roll them as tight as I can and I place them along the edges of the suitcase to create a solid base, because you know how some suitcases have actually like the handlebars built in to the lining of the suitcase, and when you go to pack, it's all like bumpy and rigidy. Sometimes I will take my jeans or those bulkier like sweatshirt items and I will try to make a somewhat flat surface on the bottom using those items. They do a great job filling in those kind of funky gaps. And then I lay my packing cubes flat on top of that. I've also found that rolling allows me to visually see everything I've packed, making it way easier to grab what I need without disturbing the rest of my items. So when I'm opening my packing cube, instead of pulling everything out, like if you had laid it all on top of each other folded, by rolling it, it's almost like seeing a filing system. So I can just kind of finger through, find the shirt I want, pull it out, and zip everything back up. And if you're a family out there like me and you want your kids to be involved in packing, I have found that kids do a way better job rolling clothes than they do folding clothes. So if you're getting your kids involved, that is another pro for rolling. That way they can pack their own packing cubes. All right, number 3, create a packing checklist. Now I know what you're thinking, a packing checklist might seem old school, but it's a lifesaver, especially for longer trips, and even more specifically, international trips. There's no need to reinvent the wheel here. I have a base packing list that I use. As I go on trips, when I go to pack the next time, if I look through the list and I find things that I didn't use, I take them off the list. So basically, next time, I don't even bother bringing those items. So to get started with this list, go ahead and take a moment to sit down and write everything down that you think you're gonna need, from clothes and toiletries to electronics and travel documents. Taking time to actually make the packing list, even a month or 2 ahead of your trip, really helps you avoid the last-minute panic of wondering if you've forgotten something important, because as your trip approaches and things pop into your mind, you can go back to your list and jot those things down. So this is kind of that sweet spot for those people that like to pack really early in advance. A great way to do this is to actually do a list, so you can still use those items versus like how I initially said I was putting them into a pile, pulling them out, using them, trying to remember to put them back. You can just have that on a list instead, and then use that list to pack maybe the day of or the day before, depending on when your departure is, and of course what you're most comfortable with. Another thing a lot of people do is actually save that list right on their phone. Then when you're coming home, you can actually use your list as a way to ensure you haven't forgotten anything. So as you pack items into your bags to come home, you can actually check those items off your list as you pack them again. Like I said, if you go ahead and put that work in upfront, you can use this list trip after trip and just refine it for specific destinations. All right, number 4, wear bulky items during travel. This is an absolute must when traveling for me. This really comes down to wearing my heaviest, thickest pants, or would otherwise take up a lot of room in my suitcase, but they still have to be comfortable to travel in. That's really important. So wearing these bulky items on travel days and then being able to wear them again at the destination can really save a lot of space in my suitcase. In addition to this, I'm trying to also wear my bulkiest shoes, which for me is typically my tennis shoes. So that works out great anyway, because I don't really like to wear like sandals or have my feet bare on an aircraft because I'm typically cold. And then in addition, I'm always wearing or carrying my sweatshirt or jacket similar to the one I'm wearing in this, which is bulky and large. So again, it's taking up a lot of space in my valuable carry-on suitcase. I have found that airplanes are often really chilly, so for me, this works really well. Ensuring I wear those really bulky items on the plane, it keeps me warm, it saves luggage space, it's a win-win. All right, number 5 is create a travel capsule wardrobe. Taking time to really learn what a capsule wardrobe is and how to put one together when you're traveling really will increase your efficiency when you're deciding what to bring. When I am increasing my efficiency, I'm bringing less stuff. Typically, that affects my stress level. What is a capsule wardrobe? Basically, this is a wardrobe of versatile clothing pieces that all complement each other, and they can kind of be worn interchangeably. And as you piece together different items, you can create unique outfits. If you need some type of inspiration for creating your own, I highly recommend heading over to Pinterest, typing in your destination followed by capsule wardrobe, and see what comes up. This way you can kind of get an idea of what other people have done for those similar destinations when creating a capsule wardrobe. But here is a simple way to get started. First step, you have to select a color palette. It's best in this foundational step to pick really neutral tones like beige, black, or white, even navy, because all of these colors are gonna give you a great foundational base for your color palette. Next, you're gonna wanna choose a few statement pieces, like a colorful scarf or a patterned blouse, to add that variety or personality without bulk of multiple outfits. Pack items that can serve multiple purposes, such as a dress that can transition from day to night, or pants that can be dressed up or down. I'm always a big believer in prioritizing fabrics that resist wrinkles and dry quickly. This is gonna ensure your clothes look fresh with minimal maintenance. I mean, most likely you're going on vacation here, so not trying to be ironing and doing a ridiculous amount of tending to my clothes. Lastly, let's talk briefly about shoes. Don't go crazy here. Try to just bring like 2, maybe 3 pairs at the most. one for walking, one for dressier occasions, and one for leisure activities. By focusing on quality of clothing over quantity, a capsule wardrobe allows you to pack light while still looking stylish. When I bring less stuff and I'm a little bit more minimal on my trips, I just am less stressed. Sometimes having more isn't always better. Number 6, maximize shoe space. This particular tip goes out to those of you who like to use every single ounce of space in your suitcase. Your desire is to get everything to fit tight and securely. So this space is often overlooked, and yes, it is actually inside of your shoes. In general, don't you feel like shoes are one of the most space-consuming items in your suitcase? I know I do. I will fully pack my suitcase and then I'm like, oh my word, I still have to put my shoes in here. And all of a sudden, when you go to like shut your clam style suitcase, it's like doming up and you're just like, I don't think my suitcase is gonna shut. But something often overlooked is this untapped storage inside of your shoes. I know it's not a huge space, but hear me out. You can use the inside of your shoes to put some of those smaller items. For instance, you could store socks, underwear, bras, some toiletries, even maybe like roll up a belt or something that's a little bit cumbersome to actually get secured into a location of your suitcase. This not only contributes to that space-saving attribute that we're looking for here, but it actually also helps shoes retain their shape during travel. Another thing to consider to put in your shoes, maybe you're traveling with like gifts or fragile items like perfume or jewelry that you're concerned about getting crushed or smushed in your suitcase. You can wrap them in socks before placing them in your shoe, maybe even put plastic around them like a plastic bag just to ensure they don't leak at all. Now, I'm all about making every inch count, especially if you're traveling carry-on only. It's a little different if you're paying or your flight even includes checked luggage, which is very rare nowadays. But when you're only using maybe a personal item and a carry-on to fly, every inch counts. And by packing strategically, even within your shoe space, this can help make the most of every inch. All right, number 7 is bring a laundry bag. Now, we're talking about a stress-free trip, things we can do to pack to help us enjoy ourselves on our trip. And for me, this is without a doubt a very compact but usable laundry bag. I specifically started packing a laundry bag when we were traveling as a family because you know when you have 6 people going through clothes and typically we were in some type of hot theme park. We're not really re-wearing our clothes day after day as they were like totally disgusting. And at that point, it really doesn't take long for your hotel room to become like a clothes explosion where there's just clothing everywhere. I mean, we were like losing socks and clothes. Things were kind of just everywhere, super disorganized. And that is when I started packing a laundry bag. And not only did it keep all of those dirty, smelly clothes from getting intermingled with our clean clothes, and honestly, it kept us from losing a lot of clothes, especially socks. It also kept our hotel room clean. I mean, just having a place to put those items brings a level of order and structure to an already really small space when you're in a cramped hotel room or just traveling in general. Just having this small item, whether it is kind of more of a mesh laundry bag or the canvas laundry bag, depending on what our specific circumstance is, has really made my travel experience, especially when traveling with my family, so much more organized, stress-free. That's all I can say about it. I'm a huge fan. Number 8, pack a travel first aid kit. Maybe it is just me, but I never travel without a small first aid kit. It's one of those things you hope you'll never need, but you're so grateful when you have it. For me, it's become a staple that I always travel with. I always like to make sure that I have it stocked with the basics like Band-Aids, pain relievers, motion sickness pills, and of course, obviously any prescription medication that I might need throughout the day. I also always add small items like tweezers, nail clippers, antiseptic wipes, blister pads, because yes, I've been in situations time and time again where I need one of those items and I get so infuriated when 1, I have to spend time and energy to go hunt them down when I'm on my trip, or 2, they're super expensive. So yes, having this kit has saved me on countless trips, from treating minor scrapes to relieving headaches after long flights. You can buy a pre-made kit, typically off Amazon, or customize your own to fit your needs. It's small, it's lightweight, and one of the most practical things you can pack back that will really help alleviate a stressful situation, which hopefully won't happen, but at least you'll be prepared. All right, number 9, use a personal item for essentials. Okay, this specific one could literally be its own video. Typically, when you travel on airlines, you are allowed a carry-on, which is typically some type of roller bag that we might see people using pulling through the airport. But in addition to this, you're also allowed a personal item, which could be like a backpack, a purse, or a tote bag. The strategy that goes into carefully packing and crafting what goes in here is so important. I want to keep this bag really organized, so having a lot of compartments can be really helpful. This personal item is what I typically use for all of my travel essentials. I'm putting that bigger carry-on item up above my seat storage for the duration of the flight. These items could be like your iPad, your phone, chargers, food and snacks. It's gonna be those items that you're getting in and out of while traveling, but it's also going to give you a lot of extra space to pack things that maybe didn't fit inside your suitcase. Use it wisely. Pick a good bag. It's going to help you stay organized, keeping you from rummaging through your carry-on suitcase and hopefully being your survival kit while in flight. Lastly, number 10, leave room for souvenirs. Yes, this is my final tip. Always leave extra space in your suitcase for souvenirs or unexpected purchases. I speak from experience. There's nothing worse than finding the perfect keepsake and realizing you have no room to bring it home. If possible, I really like to pack in an expandable carry-on. So when I'm initially packing my bag, I always make sure that it doesn't feel super tight. I wanna make sure that there's a little give, a little room, and if I'm using an expandable suitcase, I make sure that I don't have that open, so that way I know that I have a little wiggle room to potentially pack a small souvenir if I happen to find one on my trip. Nothing is more stressful than purchasing things on your trip and feeling strapped or stressed when you're trying to pack to come home. So like I said, if you're using one of those expandable zipper around carry-ons, make sure that it is shut and you're not using that feature when you're packing your bag. Certainly, when you're coming home, feel free to open that expandable part of your suitcase, let it breathe, air out a little, you'll have some extra room, and hopefully you will have been able to purchase a lot of souvenirs to fit inside of there. So here is another thing that some people do that really want to be disciplined to have that space in their suitcase is they will actually take an empty shoebox or some type of container that's disposable, and they will pack that inside their carry-on. And then when they get to their destination, obviously they'll take that shoebox or box out that was kind of a placeholder, and they will discard that, and then they'll automatically have that much excess space in their carry-on. Wow, talking about all these packing hacks has me super excited to go on a trip. I don't know about you guys, I love talking travel. I love talking about all of these tips to make a great trip less stressful, because really that's what our travel should be. Fun, rejuvenated time, making memories with the people we love, and we should try to address any of those stress points right away before we go, being proactive in those areas so that we can really have a great trip. And you know who's really great at helping you with that? Your travel agent. Travel agents that work with us here at Gateway Travel are absolutely phenomenal. So you can find more information in the description below, or reach out to your own travel agent today. Ask them their best hacks when it comes to stress-free packing. I guarantee you they are loaded with some wonderful tips and tricks, and you do not want to miss out on that. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to this channel for more travel tips and tricks. Safe travels, and see you next time.